It has truly been a privilege to be sat here listening to the heartfelt, knowledgeable and personal experience speeches that we've heard today, and I am sure that everybody will share their awe in the bravery from a friend from Mitcham Morden. She spoke as a formidable MP, but also as a formidable sister.
Yeah.
I would also like to pay tribute to the ongoing work of brain tumour research and the APPG on brain tumours for their dedication to raising awareness of the issues facing the brain tumour community and their efforts to improve research, treatment and care outcomes. Last week, I met with my constituents, Kuram and Yasmin, who bravely shared their daughter's story, Amani's story with me. And I want to share that in the House today, in an effort to see the change and progress that they and we all want to see. Amani was diagnosed with a grade 4 glioblastoma after collapsing on her 22nd birthday in April 2020. As we have heard, treatment options available in the UK for glioblastomas are very limited, and the standard of care Amani was receiving failed to stop the tumour from growing. After discussions with her medical team, the family decided the best and only way forward would be to access a new trial drug, ONC 201. Thanks to the generosity of family, friends and strangers, over £100,000 was quickly raised to help finance this, and her father, Kuram, took it upon himself to fly to Germany to purchase ONC 201. A father who should have been by his daughter's side, having to travel, raise funds, and travel to Germany to get the drug that she needed. Amani was a strong advocate for brain tumour research and campaigned tirelessly against the lack of funding into this cruel disease. And in spite of her ongoing battle, Amani was a true inspiration, launching a podcast to discuss her diagnosis, organising fundraising events in support of brain tumour research, and even receiving a master's degree at her bedside. Despite her continued strength and determination, Amani lost her fight in February last year. She died at the age of just 23. Her family were and are completely devastated, but have continued to campaign ever since in Amani's memory. Amani's story and parents' determination to honour her legacy can't fail to move you. But while there's fundraising efforts of every family like them are massive achievements individually, they are a drop in the ocean compared to what we know is needed to effectively tackle brain tumours. We are all aware of the government funding promise made in 2018 in May, with a total of £40 million made available via the National Institute for Health Research. Yet the APPG for Brain Tumours recent report found that as of January 2023, just 15 million had been awarded from this pot, with 6 million of this not easily identifiable as relevant to brain tumours, as we had already heard. Now, when I spoke to Kuram and Yasmin, their biggest concern was that the funding which is so desperately needed has actually not materialised, despite promises. We know that investment in research drives survival rates. As Kuram and Yasmin pointed out, the deployment and development of the COVID-19 vaccine is a clear example that breakthroughs can happen in a very short time period when the funding is available and the political will is there. And importantly, why is it that patients and families are told to be satisfied with a system where we see inequality in the levels of care dependent on the disease or illness that that person has? When it comes to brain tumours, why does it still come down to the generosity of family, friends and wider communities dipping into their own pockets to ensure those diagnosed, like Amani, have access to medical treatment and newly developed medicines in the hope of fighting their diagnosis? Tragically, as we have heard from the contributions of many honourable and right honourable members today, continued lack of funding for brain tumour research means that Amani's story is not uncommon. We've heard that brain tumours remain the biggest cancer killer of adults and children under 40. Unlike most cancers, brain cancer incidences are rising. Yet no new treatments have been brought forward, and the 5-year survival rate for patients is just still 12%. Another Luton resident whose fight with stage 4 glioblastoma is young father of 3 and husband Moshin. His family are left praying, in hope, and also fundraising at one of the most distressing parts of their life. I asked the Minister if fundraising for treatment is what any family dealing with cancer or any health issue is what they should be spending their time on and their precious energy. Another of the main issues identified in the APPG's report was that the current funding system is unfit for purpose, functioning in an insular manner. Researchers are moving away from the field of brain tumour research and towards other disease areas with more readily available and secure funding as a result of this. And now I want to move on to some specific questions for the Minister. Will the government hear these calls that have been put forward today and focus on delivering a strategy for adequately resourcing and targeting those resources and funding discovery and clinical research with a joined-up approach from basic science through to clinical trials? And will the Minister today share with us where the remainder of the money that was promised is? And will we see some transparency regarding where and how this money has been allocated? The Right Honourable Member from Leeds Central put it absolutely powerfully when he said, where have some of these successful bids come from? Why have they been successful? And importantly, why have some not? And finally, and I hope that this will be a yes from the Minister, because it doesn't require any spending commitments, it only requires him to spend time with Amani's parents. Will he meet with me and my constituents, Karam and Yasmin, and hear from them directly about the impact that brain tumours have had on their family and how the government can deliver change to ensure other families in their position do not have to suffer such a tragedy? I know it will mean so much for Karam and Yasmin that this issue is being debated in the House, but we also know that empty words won't cut it. We need firm commitments and an explanation, because no family in Luton North or anywhere else should have to go through what they have.
The Honourable Lady Member for Luton North raised Amani's story and how they had to fundraise for travel to take part in an international clinical trial. And of course, I send my condolences to Amani's family. And of course, I'd be very, very happy to meet with Karim and Yasmin to discuss this further.